This is a podcast from the Queen City Podcast Network.
Welcome to Nerd Skool.
Nerds! Nerds! Nerds!
Yeah.
Suck it, nerd!
Nerds! Nerds! Nerds!
Suck it, nerd!
Nerds! Nerds! Nerds!
Suck it, nerd!
Visit me, daddy ass.
Welcome to Nerd Skool.
My name is Low Key. Welcome to the Nerd Skool podcast. You Jack.
Dear audience, this is a special Teachers Lounge episode of Nerd Skool where all the professors are in the building without Joe. So this is our opportunity to spread our grievances, talk random nerd things that Joe won't get utterly confused on, and just have some professor time, which we don't always get.
We do not.
I'm going to fail him for the link, though, just so you know. In my class.
Yes.
Well, what he did was he sent thingamajig. So you joined before he sent that text.
No, I went to, when you set up a recurring meeting, it stays the same one.
Right.
And so I went to the one on my calendar that's recurring, and it says, oh, your host set up another meeting, which don't put it on my calendar if it's incorrect. I'm a stickler for my calendar.
This is what I thought. I thought that it was going to be different anyway. So I had already said he's probably going to send it to Messenger, and we're not going to use the same one from the
We should always, this is a critique, if you set up a recurring meeting, put it on the calendar, make sure it's showing correctly, and utilize the recurring link.
That would be the case.
It would save him time.
If we're going to be technical, as Andy would probably say, the current meeting is normally on Monday. It is, but you would just click on Monday. Well, if you really want to get down to nail tax with me, I would have gone in and adjusted my meeting for yesterday to today, and it would have asked me, do you want to change all your recurring meetings or just this one? And I would have put just this one because Tiffany needs a calendar.
This is a scintillating way to open a podcast, is to haggle about Zoom linkage.
Basically, so it's almost like we're the professors were arguing over the budget. Like she wants more money. She wants more money for the drama club. I want more money for the art club.
I mean, listen, I think we've told our audience more than once we are very busy people. Yeah. We all work a crap ton. And so having a good calendar keeps me sane, just as sane as Hallmark movies. That's my grievance.
And in case you guys haven't noticed yet, the pupil is not amongst us to chime in with adulations of love towards yours truly.
Well, if there's an art club that you're trying to get funding for, I'm going to guess it's so named just so, not necessarily that you guys do any sort of art. It's just fundage goes directly to your account. And you just do whatever art wants to do.
Right. And
that's abuse of power and corruption. That's why you're a Sith.
I mean, if he does nothing else, it's abuse power. So
yeah, that's what it means to be a Sith.
It is indeed what it means. I do have something to bring before you today. I was thinking, when we are about to end phase 3 really soon. The one thing we did not get to do this year is our summer movies.
That's true.
So we need to decide. We normally take a break between phases and do a staff pick movie and review that. I like that mainly because I always win with the best staff pick.
I feel like,
but I do because it gives us a break and lets us cover other nerd content, which is outside the MCU. So even though it's not summer, do we want?
It'll be,
and it might be around the holiday, closer to Halloween and Thanksgiving. So do we want to do
holiday nerd movies for the month of December?
Well, I think we can do before December because I've already started watching Christmas movies.
Because we still got Endgame and then Spider-Man. What's the one?
No, that starts the next phase.
No, I think the Spider-Man movie, Far From Home, I think it was was the end of phase 3, technically.
Are you sure? I thought it was the beginning of phase 4.
Whoa.
I will
Got to get
consult
our
the internet.
facts straight. Because we don't
Double check it. I swear I thought Endgame starts.
I mean, Endgame obviously should end whatever it is.
I found it. Endgame is the official end of phase 4, but Far From Home is considered the epilogue of phase 3, excuse me.
Yeah, so
interesting how they did that. So so we still have Captain Marvel to record, Spider-Man. Oh, Endgame and Spider-Man. I'm brushing over Endgame because I got to emotionally prepare myself. Well, I think we will end in enough time we can do a teacher's choice, whether it's Halloween, Thanksgiving, or Christmas, but a holiday-esque movie.
I think it should be Halloween.
A nerd.
I feel like we will get Endgame was I just started Endgame, and I'm like, I was watching it, and I think I was like 15 minutes into it, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot this movie is like 3 hours long.
How do you?
We'll be on that for a while.
It's gonna be a hot minute, especially once Joe starts like, oh my goodness, I don't know what was going on. I had to rewind it a couple of times, so it's like, we're going to spend some time on that. Spidey, we won't zip through it, but I think it'll probably be right around Halloween when we're at.
Well, that's why I think we shouldn't limit it to just Halloween, because
I was thinking we could do Christmas, because I figure we have a big in our real lives, there's a big ass festival coming up that's going to eat the rest of September for most of us.
Yes.
And after that, so I don't think we're going to get through Captain Marvel before the end of October.
Before the end of October?
Well, it depends. Because I don't know.
Think about it, Art. We're about to go, like Andy says, this festival. Mm-hmm. I don't know about your schedule, but it's eating ours up.
Yeah, I'm gonna be outside running a roller skating rink for 3 weeks.
I stayed away from Valentine. Lord help me.
I have not. That is what I'm doing.
Yeah. Thankfully there are other team members the trick is I live closer to there, but I would have to drive all the way in to pick up stuff to come all the way back towards my house, and it just didn't make sense.
Anyway, but not to go into the weeds with our real lives, I'm thinking we could start here brainstorming like a syllabus of these might not be the things we finalize and go with, but suggestions, and we could solicit some from our listeners as well, of holiday themed, and we'll if we get lucky and get through in time to take a break for Halloween movies, we can brainstorm Halloween movies and I guess Thanksgiving and Christmas movies for that fit into the nerd milieu.
And there are plenty. So I like your point to ask the audience, and I will put a poll up on our Instagram too, as we talk through what potential holiday movies we can tag team. I do think nerd movies will probably land in Halloween or Christmas. To be honest, there just aren't that many Thanksgiving movies in general.
I was even trying to think of some and
they're usually centered around not science fiction and general nerd shit. I mean, you got airplanes, trains, and automobiles, but
the stormtroopers are not coming in Thanksgiving, as they shouldn't, because it's a falsehood.
Yeah, we're not going to do the Star Wars holiday special before we actually get into Star Wars proper. The first two things that come to mind are, Die Hard is not exactly a nerd movie, but it's absolutely a Christmas movie. But it's also, it's just more of a straight action movie and has a wider. It's become such a cult classic that I think we could qualify it in the nerd movie realm. But it's straight up action movie, completely accessible, and nothing too science fiction-y about it. So not that science fiction is the only nerd thing or fantasy, I guess. But I think people are nerdy enough about Die Hard that it could qualify.
Oh, it definitely has a fandom.
Yeah, and the second one that comes to mind is Gremlins, which takes place during Christmas, I believe. Which is I have no idea if that stands up. I have not seen that movie since the 1980s. But
I would argue against your Star Wars Christmas special only because we did do Lego Batman and we haven't covered DC yet. So I think it's worth
it's possible, but
putting it on the list.
But Batman is sort of ubiquitous, whereas I mean Star Wars is ubiquitous, but it's all one storyline. And it's all kind of set in the same universe. There's not like there's different pockets of the universe, but it's all one big storyline. So I think the holiday special is something we do on a break between.
But also it's all some of it's all the same universe, but it's not like where some of the stuff is in the same universe and maybe it's been
you don't have to know everything else.
And maybe it's been a millennium or like a few years, where Star Wars encompasses thousands of years in between things. So it's like
if you go all the way back, if you decide to dig into the Knights of the Old Republic and all that stuff.
Or even some of the current stuff. Like, but some of the stuff that's going on now, it's like it's still a number of years that it's not as drawn together. You know what I mean? Like
we're not going to watch Drawn Together. That's a whole different cartoon series that has nothing to do with Christmas, as far as I know. In fact, it's a bit off-putting.
I feel like
he would choose something off-putting.
Joe is probably going to choose a Christmas movie type thing, and he's going to want to do the He-Man and She-Ra Christmas special.
Thinking that.
That's probably what he'll do.
And that's okay.
Sure.
Everyone gets to pick their own movie. If he can put in the stupid movies that he's chosen thus far, I can't stop him now.
I feel like you might surprise us this time.
That's the one where Skeletor winds up hanging out with a bunch of Earth children.
Yeah,
and he gets mad that he keeps feeling nice feelings, and he's like, "I am not kind, I am not nice, and I am not wonderful. I am evil." Yeah, but then like a little weird space puppy licks his face and he has a weird Skeletor smile.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw one in that has its own fandom.
Mm-hmm.
It is not quite fantasy, but it's not your normal everyday.
Is the Virgin River Christmas special?
No. It's The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh yeah, that's
where there are two holidays. We're discussing multiple holidays in the movie. Yeah. There is first of all, Tim Burton carries his own nerd people with him, whatever he does. But I do think it takes place in a world that is fantasy, and it is worth adding into the pot of options.
Oh yeah, Tim Burton movies are really much in the nerd wheelhouse. Although, would you consider it more of a Halloween movie or more of a Christmas movie?
He is dying to be Santa Claus.
He is, but
it's a bit of both. I watch it. Well, first of all, again, I've already started watching Christmas movies, so I'm not the expert on when to watch it because I'm like Christmas all year long. But I would say it can sit in either category. It's a good watch during Halloween. It's also a good watch if you're not into the normal Christmas and need a little edge. It's a good watch in that season.
I'm also thinking perhaps we could have like some kind of pop quiz where we watch some ridiculous Hallmark Christmas movie, like Lori Loughlin becomes a.
We can't watch Lori Loughlin; she's out for her scandal.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's right. I was gonna say Hallmark Christmas. Like Lori, who else? Candace Cameron does them a lot.
She's also out.
Yeah. Let's see who problematic. Jennifer Garner,
Dolly Parton.
Jennifer Love Hewitt is still fine.
What about Dolly Parton?
Dolly Parton is America's hero, so she's always fine. Dolly Parton's been woke in the right direction for a very long time. Then Danica McKellar,
Winnie Cooper.
Yep.
Is she doing Christmas movies now?
She's been doing them. She
is a nerd. She is a math professor. So anything she does is qualified as nerdness.
What about James Marsden?
He plays evil princes all the time, or buffoon princes, and then Cyclops.
Right.
Does he also own castles?
Sorry, I just had a moment for just girl nerds, women nerds. When you talk about Danica, she is not the only television actress known for being smart. A literal.
What about the girl that played Topanga? What's her name? I forget her name.
Danielle Fishel.
She did not. Yes, she did not go to do school. Who I'm talking about is Mayim Bialik.
Yeah.
Oh, Mayim.
She's got
I love me some Blossom. Call me Cat.
Her degree is no joke, number one. So when she's on Big Bang Theory, that's not her, but man, she would know some of that stuff they're talking about.
Yeah.
So her and Danica are examples of two child actors who took a moment, went off, got hella smart, got hella educated, and then came back in this world of comedy and cheesy Hallmark movies. And you can't be mad at it.
No, not at all.
That's my random girl fact. STEM girls killing it, actresses doing a damn thing off screen.
That's right. So that would be the way to work Hallmark movies into Nerd Skool, is by actually having a Danica McKellar movie in the wheelhouse, and then we could watch her. I don't know. She switches places with her twin, and they both become princesses of different countries or something. And then maybe the princess twin becomes a regular person and has to learn how to put her shoes on and dress herself, whereas the non-princess twin has to learn how to flip around. Or is that they already do that with Vanessa Hudgens, right? That's the movie I'm thinking
that's
of.
Vanessa Hudgens.
They're Christmas Princess.
Yes, they've had 1 and 2. They're actually very good. Just know.
Are you sure there's only 2? I could swear there's at least 4.
They might have started a third one.
What are they called?
First couple, second couple, and a baby. You might be right. There are 3.
Christmas Princess, 3 Christmas princesses and a baby. And that because there's a third twin who's like a drunk asshole.
Evil. Yeah. She's like an evil. She's been locked up for a while. She's a grifter, scammer. She's there. She turns out to be like their cousin or something that happens just to them.
Evil twins. That's a classic. It's classic soap opera stuff, but it's also, certainly nerdy stuff as well.
You've Got Mail.
Would you consider that a holiday movie? I guess so. Yes, maybe. It starts out that way.
That's like Tom Hanks is basically destroying Meg Ryan's career, but they fall in love.
A little bookstore.
And because they secretly are in love with each other because of the 90s internet.
Back and forth. Yep. The 90s internet. Yes. Good old Messenger.
Which gets a nod in the Captain Marvel movie. We'll talk about that once we get there. I just finished watching Captain Marvel.
Good starting base.
Obscure Kree characters. Yeah. I like that they are trying to play the black box message, and they have to wait for it to load because, it's like Netscape or something. And then Carol Danvers is like, what the hell's going on? It's loading. You have to do that.
Listen.
That's a nice beat in that movie. But we'll talk about that later. What else you got, Art? What other movies you
got? Reindeer Man.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't know if that would be, because it's more of an action movie, but it's
is that Reindeer Games, you mean?
Reindeer Games, yeah.
Okay.
That's a reference Tony Stark makes when calling Loki Reindeer Games in the first Avengers film. So that could be a connection. I've never actually watched Reindeer Games. Is that actually on Christmas?
Yeah, it's Christmassy stuff in there. I'm just naming random movies that have Christmas themes.
Yeah.
Everyone gets to pick their own, whether we like
Claus,
it or not.
which is a great movie.
Which one?
Red Claus.
I don't even know that one.
Fred Claus, Vince Vaughn.
Yeah,
I know
Paul Giamatti.
I know Joe could also pick Bad Santa.
Yeah, Bad Santa.
Billy Bob Thornton's Bad Santa. I think he and his wife make a tradition of watching that every Christmas when they're wrapping gifts for their kids.
That's cute.
Can you imagine what Joe's top 10 all-time favorite movies would be?
Like G.I. Joe animated movie, probably.
Andy's the better guesser because he's related to him.
Let's see. Well, growing up, he watched Teen Wolf a million times and Ferris Bueller's Day Off a million times. But I think part of Ferris Bueller was only that he knew I didn't want to watch it, and he kept watching it to annoy me.
He doesn't like it, but you.
Oh, he did. He was out to bother me at all times when we were kids. I mentioned not being a big fan of
classic brother.
Yeah. I mentioned I didn't really. He liked to watch Three's Company, and I didn't really care about Three's Company. So
how did you not like Three's Company?
I don't know. It just wasn't my bag. And then he would audio. We didn't have a VCR yet, so he would audio record an episode of Three's Company, and just have it waiting on our boombox. And then whenever I walked into the room, he'd jump over the boombox and start playing the episode and laughing along. Oh, Jack Tripper's so funny.
Lord help.
Like half of the humor of Three's Company is Jack Tripper falling over shit, so you can't even really. It's physical comedy. But he was out to just annoy me whenever he could, just to get a rise out of me. And
sounds like a great. Sounds like a great show that I would watch.
Just the story of Joe trying to get my goat.
Oh yeah,
that's the new pitch it to the Disney Channel. That's our new go-to show. Two brothers, one into the nerddom. The other one's mission is just to annoy the other one. Done. Hijinks ensue.
Random question for TBJ, who I would assume would be the best to be in the know for this, and I don't know why. I keep getting these weird clips from the old Ariana Grande Nickelodeon show bubbling up on my for some reason.
Sam and Cat.
Yeah, I guess so. And one of them was. The other one was what's her name? Victoria Justice or something?
Well, there are two shows. There's Victorious, and then there's a spinoff of that where she is starring in it. So which one are you getting on
I don't know. I've this is probably why they're bubbling up, is because I've read some weird gossipy things where the one star and like Ariana Grande was kind of like dumb comic relief on the show, I think. And
that's the spinoff.
A spinoff of what?
So Victorious is the original show, and her character in Victorious partners with another character that was from another Nickelodeon show, and they meet and they have this random life together, and Ariana is dumb on this show, and I watched way too many episodes thanks to my 8-year-old niece.
Right. Is she dumb on both shows?
Yes, she is.
So it's like she's a universe. It's a crossover.
But if you are hearing rumors, you would have heard rumors about the second show, because Jeanette McCurdy was her co-star who just wrote the book I'm Glad My Mom Is Dead. And Jeanette McCurdy was the one who wasn't allowed to go off and pursue anything, but Ariana Grande was allowed to go off, make a record, do things, be offset, while the other girl was like low-key being harassed by a producer.
Okay. I wasn't here. I guess I've heard that as well, but I thought like the other one, Victoria, is that her name? Victoria's
Justice.
I thought I read something where she was all pissed because their show would have kept going if Ariana Grande didn't quit on her.
That's the other one. That's the second one.
So she's all probably mad at Ariana Grande for being way more successful, even though she was the star of the show and she was supposed to be the one that got successful. So I'm wondering if there's basically, for some reason, I'm curious if there's bad blood between the two of them. It could be because Victoria is jealous and angry.
Sort of like if Kelly Rowland and Michelle Williams jealous of Beyonce.
Right.
No, they're not. I do follow them. They're not. They really do treat each other like sisters, and that's a beautiful thing for the Beyonce girls. I will say there is a rumored feud between Victoria Justice and Ariana Grande, but she did the spinoff, so it wouldn't have been based on the
Ariana building her career, because her career would have came later with the other show. But Victoria's never said there was actual conflict. She's denied it for a very long time, and so we never get to dive into it. But Jeanette McCurdy did write a book, and she talked about her time on Nickelodeon and what that was like, and having a show where you're both supposed to be leading ladies, and one of you is getting treated like a queen and one of you is not.
Okay.
But there are a lot of people feuding with Ariana Grande right now. She just stole somebody's whole ass husband. So,
oh, really?
You know, yes, her co-star in Wicked is a Broadway baby, and he was married to a woman, and they have a baby, and now he's dating his co-star after filing for divorce from his wife, and Ariana filed for divorce from her husband, and now they're dating.
Wow.
But she is also the singer who wrote "Break Up with Your Girlfriend Because I'm Bored." So.
Right. Now
that is our random Ariana Grande segment of Nerd Skool.
Right. Do we want to get into what, like, I know I heard Pete Davidson make some remark about how she paints her body orange or whatever. Is that,
I mean, her spray tanning.
Yeah.
He has been mostly nice in his comments about her.
Except that whole he did a whole stand-up special just basically about her.
Yes, but it was after she had let some things out. So
yeah, she wasn't released a whole ass song about him.
Yeah, he could have come harder and he didn't. So, you know, whatever. It's Hollywood. They all date each other, and it's like it's hard to be in that cesspool and be like not tainted. No excuses for them, because you can be better humans. And not be tainted.
So is that just like a really good spray tan? Because it doesn't look bad on her. It doesn't look fake.
It is really good. It is so funny because people have been talking. Ariana Grande has also been accused of utilizing what people call black scent, right? She gets really, in her singing, she's done some like, I'm a down girl from over here. And so it feels like she's ambiguous. Like, what is she? And right now there's a few TikToks going around that are basically like, oh no, she's a white girl. No. Here she is, untanned and behaving. Like, she can turn it off. She really turns it on to her advantage, which is the same thing Awkwafina is accused of.
Right. And I do remember, like, the first time I started hearing about her was, like, I think she hosted Saturday Night Live, and there was a joke she made in her monologue saying, like, someone asked her if she was Mexican, and she said, no, I'm just really, really Italian.
Yeah. It's there. She has been problematic for more than one thing. I don't know if you remember.
I was just going to ask, is she problematic then?
There was a scandal about her once when she went to a restaurant, can't remember if it was a bakery or something, and she was traveling, and she thought it was funny to like lick some of the food.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you remember?
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Why I know this much about Ariana Grande, I do not know.
I don't know. You brought her up, Andy.
I did.
I know. I was
just looking for some behind the scenes Nickelodeon gossip, I guess.
He was some hot gossip like, about Nickelodeon.
We're talking about our next curriculum, and he's like, I need that Nickelodeon.
I need some hot gossip.
Listen, there is plenty to be had.
I think part of it is that I was watching this show or this movie, or like thinking about like so many of the stars that I don't find out that they were Disney Channel kids for 100 years before that. Like, am I wrong in thinking Brie Larson might have been on a Disney show at some point?
I cannot remember the first time
maybe I'm wrong about that. If I can get my internet.
I don't remember her with Disney Channel roots, and I could be wrong. Wholeheartedly,
I might be
wrong. The first
wrong.
time I know of her coming on the scene or paid attention to her was when she did the movie Room.
Yeah, she got the Academy Award-y attention, I guess.
Yes, I had read that book, so I was tuned into the movie because I had read the book. But that doesn't mean she could not have made an appearance on one of those. I mean, your big Disney names are Ryan Gosling, started out on the Disney Channel, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Kerry Russell, Justin Timberlake. Who am I forgetting? You got your Raven Simone, Lindsay Lohan.
What's the girl with the kind of high pitched screamy voice sometimes? Keke Palmer.
Keke Palmer. That is not the way I would describe Keke Palmer, but okay. Zendaya.
Keke Palmer is a highly excitable young woman. Like sometimes
I love it.
It kind of reminds me of like how, Chris Tucker, DC Young Fly. It's like like their emotions come out, and when they start talking, it just can be like, it's like it's really loud. And it's like you almost and I get excitable too sometimes. To the point where I literally be biting my tongue almost because I'm trying to talk really, really fast. But it's like some people when they get highly excited, like their voice gets really high, and it's like it's just weird. Like it's almost like they're yelling at you, but they're not yelling. It's like their normal voice.
Oh, sorry, random. Brie Larson. Speaking of, actually, before Room. We saw her. We watched the movie. We watched Scott Pilgrim. That's where we
Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
I didn't hear
you mumbled it while TBJ was talking, so that's.
But you heard it, right?
I heard it, but
there you go.
TBJ was talking about some stuff.
That's all we need. I said it before TBJ. I am the greatest.
That's fine.
And she was on a sitcom. She was on a one-season sitcom with Bob Saget and Kat Dennings and Megan Good called Raising Dad in 2001.
Interesting. So yeah, she started out as a child actor, but she didn't get that Disney money.
Right.
Like so many, the Sprouse brothers are Disney kids.
Or how about Nickelodeon kids then?
Nickelodeon kids, you have who we just talked about, Ariana Grande, Nick Cannon. A lot of them, Keenan.
Yeah.
Is Keenan on Saturday Night Live?
Yeah.
He's still on Saturday Night Live.
He's going to be there forever. He has no reason to leave.
That's true, even though the show might be tanking. They're not as big. I'm pretty sure Nickelodeon launched Big Time Rush, which are making their comeback as a band that was curated just for Disney. Not Disney, but Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon.
Yeah. Nickelodeon didn't put out as many. Amanda Bynes, obviously, but she's gone off the cuckoo.
Yeah, she's
Hilary Duff, maybe.
Problems.
No, Hilary Duff was Disney.
Okay, Disney. Okay.
All right. Anyway, we got to get back to nerdy.
Amanda Siegfried.
Well, I was hoping this wasn't going to be a long episode because it was just a teacher's lounge.
Yeah.
2, we semi had a purpose in talking about our curriculum post phase 3.
And
we've got 4. Some options.
We should also probably just figure out what we should do about phase 4, since we covered some of it early on because we were trying to be current, but then it just.
I think we just work the movies and not the TV shows for now.
But then also, if we do, I would think I was talking to Joe about this, like when we do get to like the part where the shows come in, we don't have to go through each individual episode. We can kind of sort of just do like those episodes could be kind of like just recap episodes or just so we can keep it flowing from, this thing to that thing. It's like we don't have to like break it down like we did when we did WandaVision.
All right, so you can we can just binge the shows because they're not. What's the longest one? Like they only got like 6 episodes each, sort of.
None of them are really long. No.
I'm trying to think. Like Loki wasn't very long. Moon Knight wasn't very long.
We can call them revisit episodes. I don't think we covered.
We did was Moon Knight, Loki, and Wanda. We didn't do like.
No, we did Falcon and Winter Soldier.
No, we did right.
We did WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier, and I think that might be as far as we got into the TV shows into phase 4.
We talked about Loki. I don't know if we went through everything. We can go back through our catalog. I think we did the whole Loki, but for those shows, we can do a quick revisit of the whole series.
And now that you've got context, how do you feel about it?
Yes, we can check back in with Joe because I know he's made some notes after watching some of these movies.
and thinking back to the TV shows.
And
so
now
I do like the
more.
idea. Yes, so we don't have to break down the entire series. We can always refer people back to the past episodes with the show by show or episode by episode. This is one podcast recording is just a revisit of WandaVision with Joe's questions and anything post that show we forgot to bring up or something that might have happened in that world.
Listen to episodes blah 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 through blah blah.
Yeah.
And
then
good.
tackle them that way. I think we're in a good place. I think he's going to have questions. That's great. I think we will get there. I'm going to just admit Endgame is going to be tough for me.
Why is that?
I got emotions. Okay, I carry a lot of emotions in life. Andy.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking like logistically trying to get through it. But...
I mean, yes, logistically trying to get through it where I don't have to pause and go watch a movie that's a happily ever after.
Yeah, that'll be a tough one. Maybe if we get through Endgame in time, we can throw in the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, because I don't think
that's one.
anything relevant to that continuity happens between Endgame and that special. I don't.
Well, yeah,
check it.
Think because the holiday special something that happened and that comes up in
volume 3. Yeah, but that's afterwards. That's a Phase 4 movie.
Yeah,
but I'm thinking
we don't want to
confuse nothing that happens between Endgame and the holiday the GOTG holiday special that would be relevant continuity wise. That they won't be missing anything if we jump right from Endgame into the holiday special. It's just be a thing to remember when we get to actual Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Does that make am I making sense?
Kind of, sort of, but we also we're talking about Joe, and he's like, why do I feel like I remember this from something or another? Like, but then also this doesn't quite make sense. Like, I remember his stupid face from somewhere, but this just why are we watching this again? Like,
figure it out. I think we keep our same format that each one of us picks a movie. We challenge each of us to watch it, and then I will still seek feedback on our Instagram stories. I'll do a poll if there's something that people are really itching for us to talk about. Maybe that could be one of our picks. Okay. But otherwise, I think we keep the same format. So one of us can win. One of us.
And we could also, because we found out that someone else who we work with is listening to our podcast, so we can also kind of just ask the people that we know at work, like, what movie what holiday type nerdy type movie you think?
But I think if you do that, then that is your pick,
right? Okay,
that becomes your pick, because the stubborn in me is going to go with whatever I feel strongest about at the time. Even if someone suggests it, because it is my prerogative as a grown-ass woman. So we can ask. I will say we will ask feedback, but we are not obligated or sold into
spoken like a true Sith apprentice.
Not spoken like a true Sith, spoken like a grown woman who
I said Sith apprentice. Don't get ahead of yourself. You haven't offed me yet. Don't get ahead of yourself.
No. I don't know what your mission is. It will never happen. I have a lot of ick in my heart for the dark side, and there's very unforgivable things. And I will note to all people, I say this to Art all the time, that being a Jedi doesn't mean you're good or kind or whatever. I'm not a Boy Scout, Girl Scout as a Jedi. It just means I am not about to go murder a bunch of children, because I don't know how to investigate shit for myself. When someone gives me a rumor, I'm not off on a murder spree instead of checking go on a murder with legit evidence.
You don't have to go on a murder spree. I wouldn't make you go on a murder spree.
I'm never going to be a Sith. It's never going to work for me. The Empire can suck dicks. I don't care.
Wow. You heard it here first, people. The Empire can suck dicks.
Wow.
And
I think
Joe
that's the
missed it.
first time TBJ
Joe
has gone
missed it.
completely into the gutter.
Right.
I'm
Joe
here for
It
it.
might be, but
That's
I
what-
just needed
that's
to
what
make
Joe
an
gets
official
for not paying
Art
attention.
stance because Art really keeps trying real hard to try and convince other people that he will be my that I will be his apprentice, and it's just never gonna. I cannot describe to you in my heart how no that is without getting down to the bag of dicks. So that is my thoughts.
Okay. We got that. And I'm thinking, it just occurred to me, I was thinking, well, there's also Werewolf by Night. It's a Halloween movie we could basically do, and that's kind of self-contained.
Yeah.
And then that led me right to, the classic Universal monster movies. We could do a run of all those, your Draculas, the Invisible Man, the Frankenstein,
Dracula Retold.
Bela Lugosi, Boris Karloff, Wolfman.
You know what would be really cool, Andy? We need somebody's brewery to sponsor us so we can have monster movie nights. I think that would be cool, where people can come hang out with us and watch movies, and we can chat about them when they're done while drinking a beer. I'm just gonna put that out there in the universe.
Maybe some kind of nerdy night out conjunction.
Yes, somebody make something happen.
Yeah, well, and of course Joe organizes the nerdy night out stuff, so he's got to
So
be.
this is his homework assignment, dear Joe. We've created a homework assignment for you, whether you like it or not. Find us a monster movie night.
This goes towards 50% of your end of phase test.
But like, what is in public domain that we wouldn't have to pay rights for? Probably like the original Nosferatu at this point.
It's gonna be at some of the classics. There might be some classics that we can probably grab that aren't. I bet you we can show like a Dracula. We'll research it. There's something.
Monster movies, public domain. I'm curious. The original Nosferatu, Vincent Price, The Last Man on Earth. A movie, the East Side Kids in Spooks Run Wild. My great uncle's father is in that.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah. He's one of the East Side Kids, Hunts Hall. There's Teenager from Outer Space. I got some of this gets into like a Mystery Science Theater realm, I guess, but
that might be fun for Halloween. People can come in costume. Let me cook on this. I'm gonna marinate on that, y'all, because I think that is actually a good idea, just to have a night out watching something together and like hanging out.
The Phantom from 10,000 Leagues. There's a Jekyll and Hyde. There's Bela Lugosi as the Devil Bat.
The Devil Bat?
Boris Karloff.
I've never heard of that.
The Ape. There's got to be some good public domain classics that we can. Frankenstein's Daughter, or the original Night of the Living Dead.
That might be fun. No, I think it is, because I remember a theater company doing a Night of the Living Dead guerrilla style, where they play the movie in the background, but also had live actors acting out certain scenes. A few years ago. So that, I think we're on to something, professors. I think we've had a good, productive meeting.
All right. That's good. And,
what?
I went on a website and they're angry that I'm blocking their ads.
How dare you?
I have to disable my ad blocker to get into the public domain horror movies that you can watch for free.
You keep your computer safe. I think we're on to something. I think it's a good time to wrap up, because I don't think a Teacher's Lounge episode should be as long as
it should not.
Should not.
So I think this is the time where we say goodbye. Who's the Art? Are you the host?
Oh, I am the host.
Gotta stop.
I am the host.
And any suggestions our listeners have as far as nerdy holiday movies that we could cover during our little break, please let us know. I have a particular friend in Salem, Oregon, who is a buddy I know from the Sundance Film Festival, who better have some suggestions, because as a film nerd, he had better have something to give us.
Andy threw a gauntlet down at his homie.
That's right.
You are,
But Andy said, come correct with your suggestions.
His name is
to everybody else.
Yep.
Hit us up on Nerd Skool Pod on IG, school with a K. Send us a direct message. Let us know your thoughts. I'll put a poll up at the end of the week so we get some more feedback from you all. But yeah, send us your suggestions. But we're ready to wrap up phase 3 and go in to these holidays. When we say we're ready, we mean it's still going to take us over a month.
Right, like
yeah.
We still got Captain Marvel
in the game. Eventually, we'll get into Captain Marvel.
We will. Next episode, hopefully, we are able to dive into that. But stay tuned. Thanks for hanging out with just the professors today. I'll let the boys say they're nerdy out.
You want to sing us out, TBJ? Endo's done it. I've done it. It's your turn. It's your turn,
later, nerds.
Shout out to Brian Hart. Give us a suggestion. Excelsior.
Pickles.
Pickles. No, it's gonna end on pickles.
It did.
It did.
You have to hit stop recording when you say pickles.
Don't say pickles. Pickles are gross. Everyone.
Thank you for listening to the Nerd Skool podcast.
They say I can't rap about the president no more, but evidently they don't see we in the streets still poor. Still more incarceration of my kinsmen by the prisons, and people thinking this election to end in racism. Proud over pessimism, glad to see Obama, but don't expect me not to speak out when I still see problems, Mr. Officer. Now they POTUS look like me, you gon' think again when seeing brothers rolling down the street. Every Martin Luther King on his American dream. Still a Rodney being beaten, screaming fuck the police. Me, I'm running through the passage, trying to get away from master, but the dogs is on my ass, I gotta move a little faster. Can't pass for Caucasian, but I got a couple papers from the plantation saying I graduated. Congratulations, cool beans, but to most school mean trying to dodge STDs, living off government cheese. Trust the government, please. Not even if it was me sitting in the Oval Office as commander-in-chief, trying to give us free, but there's a nigga in my ear saying, you got it, Superman, you ought to keep it here. Get this distinctly clear, I'm all about jetting. Raps Kunta Kinte without the half-stepping. A new chapter, back with new lessons. After that, the final exam. Any questions?
QueenCityPodcastNetwork.com.
Excelsior.